Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Russia-Ukraine conflict rages on. President Zelensky says Ukrainian troops strengthening their positions in Kursk. Antony Blinken set to arrive in Israel as US pushes for Gaza ceasefire. Expected to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Gaza peace talks due to resume next week. Thai King Maha Vajiralongkorn formally appoints Paetongtarn Shinawatra as Thailand's new Prime Minister. Newly appointed PM says will perform her duties with an open mind. India's Home Minister Amit Shah awards Indian citizenship to 188 Hindu refugees from neighboring countries under Citizenship Amendment Act. Reigning champions Real Madrid to kick off La Liga against Mallorca, featuring Kylian Mbappe's debut. Coach Ancelotti emphasizes rest for the players during the season. As the fierce battle between Russia and Ukraine continues in Kursk region, President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukrainian troops were strengthening their positions in Kursk and called the captured territories an exchange fund, implying they could be swapped for Ukrainian regions occupied by Moscow.
The operation is proceeding exactly as we planned. The bravery of Ukrainians is achieving great things. We are now strengthening our positions. The bridgehead of our presence is becoming stronger.
Now in its second week, this is Ukraine's deepest incursion into Russia since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion more than 2 years ago. Ukraine's surprise cross-border operation has resulted in more than 1 lakh people fleeing to safety. Meanwhile, Zelensky renewed his calls for Ukraine's Western allies to allow long-range strikes on Russia.
We are doing everything possible to provide our soldiers with the necessary weapons and reinforcements. In this context, it is crucial that our partners remove barriers that prevent us from weakening Russian positions in the way the course of the war demands. Long-range capabilities of our forces are the answers to the most important and strategic questions of this war.
Safety at Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is deteriorating following a drone strike that hit a perimeter access road on Saturday, according to International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi. The Russian management of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant said Ukraine drone dropped an explosive charge on a road used by staff. Russia has been in control of the Zaporizhzhia site, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe, since soon after it launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The plant is dormant as Moscow and Kyiv have repeatedly accused each other of trying to sabotage its operations and endangering safety around the plant. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin is traveling to Azerbaijan. This marks Putin's first trip to the Caucasus nation since 2018 and occurs as Russia aims to reassert its role as mediator between Azerbaijan and its adversary, Armenia. Dasha Chernyshyova has more from Moscow.
Further development of Russian-Azerbaijani relations of strategic partnership and alliance is expected to be discussed during Russian President Vladimir Putin's two-day state visit to Azerbaijan. The Kremlin says during the negotiations, Putin and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev will also discuss current international and regional issues. The sides are expected to adopt a joint statement of the heads of states and sign a number of documents. Last week, Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu visited Baku. He said that the West threatened the security of South Caucasus by interfering into the affairs of the region. Putin last visited Baku in 2018, and Aliyev recently said Russia-Azerbaijani ties are an example for the neighboring states. A senior Russian lawmaker, Leonid Slutsky, said that the visit confirms the high level of strategic partnership between Moscow and Baku. Slutsky said the prospects for the cooperation between the two countries are steadily expanding across the entire range of cooperation in economic, political and humanitarian spheres. He also said that the two countries are staunch supporters of the establishment of a multipolar world order. Putin's visit comes against the backdrop of heightened tensions in the region and Russia's souring relations with Armenia. Aliyev last visited Moscow in April. Dasha Chernashova in Moscow, reporting for DD India.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is all set to arrive in Israel amid increased diplomatic efforts to reach a deal to end the fighting between Israel and Hamas and free Israeli hostages. This is Blinken's 10th trip to West Asia since the conflict began in October last year. The top U.S. diplomat is expected to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday. Gaza ceasefire talks in Doha, mediated by the U.S., Qatar and Egypt, are due to resume next week. A statement from Netanyahu's office said Israel's negotiating team had expressed cautious optimism on the possibility of advancing a deal. U.S. President Joe Biden said on Friday, following 2 days of talks in Doha, that efforts to reach a deal were now in sight, although he warned that negotiations were far from over. Thousands protest in Caracas against Venezuela's election results. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado addressed the crowd, evoking the protesters and international and Venezuelan government to recognize opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez as the winner. The country's electoral authority has said President Nicolas Maduro won his third term in July 28 contest with just under 52% of the vote. But the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has published online what it says are 83% of voting machine tallies, which give its candidate Edmundo Gonzalez a hearty 67% support. The elections result of Venezuela has sparked widespread protests globally. Thousands in Spain's Madrid and Florida's Miami recently joined protests against Venezuela's election results. Thousands of people have taken to the streets to express their outrage and concern to call for justice and transparency. As the situation continues to unfold, the protests show no signs of abating, with demonstrators vowing to keep up the pressure until their demands for a legitimate and fair electoral process are met. As the U.S. presidential race becoming a close contest between two rival candidates, the Republican Donald Trump has increased the pitch of his attack over Kamala Harris. Pennsylvania is their latest battleground, where both are trying to tilt the voters' mood for polls on November 5. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump was campaigning in northeastern Pennsylvania on Saturday, while in the poll surveys, Trump's percentage is going down in comparison to Kamala Harris. Trump questioned the credibility of these predictions. The former U.S. president even took pot shots against Harris in personal terms that does not generally sound in good taste. He tried to convince his voters that beating his Democrat rival Kamala Harris will be easier for him than former Democrat aspirant President Joe Biden, who had performed badly in presidential debate with him.
Polls and this stuff, and I'm at like 93%. I said, so why are we having an election? They didn't have an election. Why are we having an election? But I believe she will be easier to beat than him because she's a truly radical left lunatic.
As Kamala Harris's running mate and vice presidential candidate Tim Walz was campaigning in Nebraska, Pat came the reply from him about Trump's allegations and pot shots. Addressing the rally in Nebraska's Omaha, Tim tried to corner Trump on his economic agenda. The Democrat vice presidential candidate, Tim, said the former U.S. president was just a corporate-friendly man. He worked for the ultra-rich and will do more for them if he came to power again.
Tries to play dumb about this 2025 plan. I coached football for enough years. When somebody takes the time to draw up a playbook, they plan on using it. He knows what this will do. Restrict our freedoms, rig the economy for the ultra-rich by punishing the middle class. If he returns to the White House, he's going to pick up just where he left off. But the people around him who worked with him the first time are already telling us it will be much, much worse.
Vice President Kamala Harris, too, is readying herself to respond on Trump's assertions soon in the same province, as she would conduct a bus tour of Western Pennsylvania starting in Pittsburgh on Sunday. Her Sunday response to Trump will be crucial, as she has to attend the Democratic National Convention next day, when she will formally accept the party's presidential nomination, and she will try to attract the confidence of her party for the presidential turf in comparison to the former president. Thai King Maha Vajiralongkorn on Sunday formally appointed Paetongtarn Shinawatra as Thailand's new Prime Minister. It will pave the way for the formation of a cabinet in coming weeks. Paetongtarn arrived with her father, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, at the Pheu Thai Party headquarters to attend a royal endorsement ceremony a short while ago. She said she will continue with all the policies that former Prime Minister Sritha was following. She also said that her government will try to stimulate the economy, combat illegal drug problems, improve universal health care. On the issue of her father being part of the government, Paetongtarn said she has not considered a formal position for Thaksin in government, but will seek his advice. Paetongtarn has become Thailand's youngest Prime Minister just days after ally Sritha Thavisin was dismissed as Premier by the Constitutional Court. She is third Shinawatra to be Prime Minister, but will hope to avoid the fate of her father and aunt Yingluck, both of whom were thrown out of power in military coups.
I am dedicated to pushing forward key policies from economic reforms and the 30 baht healthcare improvements to enhancing digital infrastructure and promoting Thailand's soft power on the global stage. I promise to serve everyone equally and wholeheartedly, every age, every gender, every diversity. Together, let's turn any challenges into opportunities, making Thailand a place where everyone can dream, create, and shape their future.
Meanwhile, Paetongtarn Shinawatra's father, who is Thailand's former Prime Minister as well, Thaksin Shinawatra, received a royal pardon shortening his parole by 2 weeks. And it happened just a day after his daughter was elected Premier by Parliament. Thaksin has been at the heart of 2-decade-past struggle between the Shinawatra family and its allies on one hand, and on the other, a nexus of royalists, generals and old money families that have long wielded influence over Thai governments and institutions. After a dramatic return last August from self-exile to avoid jail time in the wake of his overthrow in 2006 military coup, Thaksin served 6 months in hospital detention due to health reasons. Later, he was released on parole in February. But after his return, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison for abuse of power and conflicts of interests during his time in office from 2001 to 2006. His sentence was commuted to 1 year by Thai King last September. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Paetongtarn Shinawatra for being elected as Thailand's new Prime Minister. In a post on X, PM wrote, and I quote, "Congratulations Paetongtarn Shinawatra on your election as Prime Minister of Thailand. Best wishes for a very successful tenure. Look forward to working with you to further strengthen the bilateral ties between India and Thailand that are based on the strong foundations of civilizational, cultural and people-to-people connect." Unquote. The leaders of South Korea, Japan and the United States issued a joint statement on Sunday marking the anniversary of their summit at Camp David and reaffirmed a pledge to jointly tackle regional challenges. The statement issued by South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol's office said the principles on trilateral cooperation established at the summit last year continues to serve as a roadmap for the three countries' cooperation. US President Joe Biden, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and Yoon met on August 18 and agreed to deepen military and economic cooperation and take a united stand against China's growing power and security threats from North Korea. Mpox cases are on the rise globally, with the African Union Health Agency reporting 18,737 suspected or confirmed cases in Africa this year, including 1,200 in just 1 week. This week, the first cases outside of Africa were recorded in Sweden and Pakistan. DD India's Isaac Lucando reports.
The nearly 19,000 Mpox cases that have been reported this year include 3 strains of the virus. One strain, the new and more deadly clade 1B, has prompted the World Health Organization to declare an international health emergency. In 2022, Mpox outbreaks occurred in over 70 countries that have never previously reported the disease. While vaccines and treatments helped control the virus in wealthy countries, doses remain scarce in Africa. This year, a potentially more infectious form of Mpox was identified in a mining town in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Congo's cases have surged, and at least 13 African countries have reported new outbreaks. The WHO says it will soon release recommendations from its emergency committee and has called for increased vaccine production. The global health body describes Mpox as a viral disease that spreads from animals to humans and through human-to-human contact, with symptoms including fever, muscle aches and large skin lesions. Isaac Lucando in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Shankar, arrives in Kuwait.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And India's Home Minister Amit Shah awarded Indian citizenship to 188 Hindu refugees from neighboring countries under the provisions of the Citizenship Amendment Act on Sunday in Ahmedabad. The Citizenship Amendment Act seeks to fast-track the process of granting Indian citizenship to Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians who migrated to India from Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan due to religious persecution, provided they have lived in India for 6 years and entered the country by December 31st, 2014. In his address, Home Minister Amit Shah stated, in fact, that provision of Indian citizenship to refugees under the CAA is a measure designed to ensure justice and grant rights to them.
CAA सिर्फ देश के लाखों लोगों को, देश में बस रहे लाखों लोगों को नागरिकता देने का कार्यक्रम नहीं। सीएए देश में बस रहे लाखों शरणार्थियों को न्याय देने का और अधिकार देने का कार्यक्रम।
All right, and DD India correspondent Magna D is joining us from Ahmedabad to give us more information on this. Hello, Magna. What is the latest you're getting on this?
Well, Siddharth, we definitely see that 188 people have been given Indian citizenship today under the CAA. Now, when we talk about the CAA in 2019, we know it was enacted and after that it received the President's assent. But the rules under which the citizenship will be granted were laid out in March this year. So what we definitely see is that after that, there has been a number of events and in a number of places where people have been given their nationality certificates, their citizenship certificates, and not only when we see it started in Delhi and after that now we have it in Ahmedabad as well. A few months ago also there was an event where the Ahmedabad district magistrate did give out citizenship certificates to people who had sought asylum here and who had come from Pakistan. We definitely, when we actually speak to the people, we understand that how much of an importance or how much importance this citizenship certificate holds for them. They have been saying that this will help for their jobs, this will help for their children's education. They can probably get government jobs now. So after facing religious persecution in the countries they were in, they definitely thought of, coming to India so that they will get asylum. But as Home Minister Amit Shah reiterated today, that the previous governments did a number of promises but did not grant any kind of citizenship to these people. So that definitely, and he also said that there have been a number of rumors that were spread, in and around the CAA, which actually delayed, giving out citizenships to the people. So, because there were rumors that it will also take away citizenship from the people. So, debugging all of that rumor mongering, misinformation was also a task at hand that the government had. And now, when a number of people have started already getting, citizenships, the Home Minister also requested the other people who are refugees here in India, who have sought asylum in India, to apply for the citizenship if they have come before 2014, the 31st December 2014.
All right. Thank you so much for your analysis, Meghna. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar arrived in Kuwait on Sunday. In a post on the microblogging site X, Minister Shankar thanked his Kuwaiti counterpart Abdullah Ali Al Yahya for the warm welcome. The External Affairs Minister is also expected to meet with Kuwaiti leadership today. The minister's visit aims to allow both sides to review various aspects of bilateral relations, including political, trade, investment, energy, security, cultural, consular, and people-to-people contacts. The visit will also provide an opportunity to exchange views on regional and international issues of mutual interest. And Nepal's Minister for Foreign Affairs arrived in India on Sunday for a 5-day official visit at the invitation of India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar. In a statement, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs said the visit aligns with the tradition of regular high-level exchanges between India and Nepal. The MEA noted that Nepal is a priority partner in India's neighborhood first policy. The visit will provide an opportunity for both nations to discuss and review the progress of bilateral cooperation and to further advance their ties. Meanwhile, India has increased security on its international border with Bangladesh. India's border security force is on high alert and thoroughly checking buses and citizens coming from neighboring country which are allowed to enter India. The 24-hour nationwide strike called by the Indian Medical Association in protest against the rape and murder of the woman doctor at Kolkata's RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital has ended now. Meanwhile, after a meeting with the IMA and other doctors' associations, the Union Health Ministry has announced its decision to form a committee which shall suggest measures to ensure the safety of healthcare professionals in the country. The association also wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi demanding safety and pressed upon the 5 demands, including a Central Act and airport-level security. West Bengal government has revoked the transfer of 42 doctors, 24 hours after it issued the order. The recall order followed an intervention of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. There were allegations, in fact, that the transfers were targeting at faculty members who protested the rape and murder of the trainee doctor at a state-run hospital. Meanwhile, the investigating agency CBI is probing the case after it was transferred from the Kolkata police by the Calcutta High Court on August 13. And let's take a look at other stories making news today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will inaugurate a new state-of-the-art maritime rescue coordination centre of the Indian Coast Guard in Chennai on Sunday. He will also inaugurate a marine pollution response centre in the city. Traffic has resumed on the railway track where 20 coaches of the Sabarmati Express passenger train derailed near Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh state on Saturday. Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnav said that train's engine hit an object placed on the track and derailed. An investigation into the incident is underway. And Real Madrid are considering allowing players to go on short holidays during the season because of concerns about the congested fixtures schedule. On the eve of their La Liga season debut at Mallorca, Ancelotti said that the steady increase in regional and international games on the calendar was taking its toll on players. After winning the La Liga and Champions League double last season and now bidding for up to 7 titles in the 2024-25 campaign, Ancelotti believes the club need to make sacrifices to preserve the health and fitness of their players.
What we are studying for this season by evaluating some things. As you say, players need to rest and to have holidays. So we are thinking during parts of the season is to give players individual holidays, which can be 1 week for a player where they will not play, so he can go rest with his family. This is a possibility, and we are studying it for the players that play their national teams who are most affected.
Puede ser, lo estamos evaluando, sobre todo por los jugadores que.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.